Hi, Chris. I'm attempting something I haven't ever done before. I just discovered that YouTube lets you record a video live, and I thought, well, why don't I just try doing that with my phone rather than filming it with my camera, putting it onto the computer, then sending it to YouTube. So I'm trying to shorten the process there. But yes, I read your latest chapter, and when I finished, my overall arching comment was, that's it. Not as in it was a letdown, but I'm like, what? No, I want more. It built up and built up and built up. And I know you said ahead of time that it was kind of a lot of filler. I'm not sure if it doesn't read like filler. It reads like character development and plot progression, and I think probably more in line with what you were alluding to, setup. It feels like this is all information I need to know to go forward. So I instinctively, as I'm reading along, get that sense. I really enjoyed the pacing and the fact that, all along, I was like, okay, we're going to get some internal reflection. We're going to get some internal reflection. We're going to get some internal reflection. And then finally got that payoff at the very end. And I do have a thought about that, but I'll wait till we're at the end. So, I don't know. I don't want to be reading this as a list of suggestions to you. I mean, oh, this isn't. But I think that's kind of what I have to do. And I'll try my best to share my thoughts along the way, as I always do. It's not like I haven't done this before. Working with you on this project. Okay, so the first thing that I want to point out is my kind of Kelly pet peeves, which are just the repeated phrases. And again, this is at your own discretion. You do run the risk of sounding not necessarily redundant, but potentially, I don't know, what's the word? Repetitive, I guess? Because redundant is going over information you've already gone over, and you don't do that. But some of the phrases are repeated several times in similar paragraph. And again, I notice this in my own writing when I'm writing quickly, and I swear my subconscious brain looks at a word or phrase in a few lines above and goes, yeah, just stick that there. And I'm like, wow, that sentence just came so easily. And I don't realize it's because some part of me literally just saw it there and plugged it in. And our brains are amazing machines, and they do everything they can to make life easier for themselves and to save them work. So they do things like that. That's why it's so hard, I think, to edit our own stuff, because it will fill in all the same blanks, Okay, so first paragraph. Okay, this is a minor thing. Last night was my first night on patrol, so there's two references to it being night. And then the second sentence says, since Hal is still healing his sprained ankle, he's having me traverse the graveyard at night. So we just, we already knew it was night. So maybe just pick one instance. And that was a stupid joke. I almost just said, maybe say he's working the graveyard shift. But I think that's a little heavy-handed. Oh, I loved that you said Frankenstein's monster. Thank you. I think I've complimented you on your accuracy when it comes to Frankenstein in the past, because so many people, as you well know, and it's probably a pet peeve of yours too, they mistakenly refer to the monster as Frankenstein because they haven't actually read the book, or they've seen one of those god-awful movies that claim that they're Mary Shelley's Frankenstein and actually have nothing to do with it. Okay, so then last night they got surrounded by 10. I wrote that escalated quickly, and I was putting myself in his shoes, and I'm like, it has been a while since I read your previous chapters, but I thought we left off, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you like to do response videos back. I thought we had left off with them sitting him down and telling him the backstory. Or is that just so vivid, like the freaking warlock gushing blood and the whole thing being covered in blood, that image is burned into my brain. Is that... I might be off in that. That might I might be remembering that as like the last big thing that I read because it was so vivid. But in my mind, we went from, holy shit, basically zombies are real, to, listen, this is where it came from, this messed up warlock, to now you're on the night shift and you're gonna have to face 10 zombies at once. And if that's the case, that's fine. I could be wrong in my timeline here. Because like I said, it's been a couple months, I think, since I read the last chapter. But the fact that I remember that much is good. Means it's really stuck with me. But yeah, I just thought like that escalated quickly, but maybe it's supposed to. So the second paragraph. Oh, there was just a logistics thing in this one sentence. So it's on the like middle bottom half. He pulled them off his shirt. It's when Gaul's being attacked. He pulled them off his shirt and threw them at the corpse writhing on the ground. Okay, so I'm not even 100% sure that I'm right, but the first time I read it, I thought, oh wait, Gaul's writhing on the ground? But no, you say the corpse writhing on the ground. So the previous noun would be corpse, not Gaul. So I think the way you have it is actually correct, but just because it made me pause and have to go back and reread it, you could, in case other people are like me, you could just stick in something at the corpse, which was writhing on the ground. You know, just something like that to be like, yeah, we just shifted from, you know, he's not the subject anymore. Okay, he said he's showing his disgust. He made a face showing his disgust. And then the next paragraph opens with him also making a face showing his disgust. So, disgust. So that's another instance of like a repeated phrase. But, how, my question for you, Padawan, how do people show their disgust? Like, what happens on the face? To me, I think of like kind of wrinkling your nose and sneering, like your lip going up, or like, you know, some sort of gesture, like if he got touched and then he killed it, like, ugh, like get it off. So try to brainstorm a few actions and infuse those in there. You know, I know that this is someone's journal entry and he's probably not writing like a writer, so he's not going to be writing with the most descriptive words, but we're still reading it as a novel. So try to throw some of those passages in there. So if you want to keep one like with a disgusted face, he did this or that, and then the second time maybe show us. Okay. I was very surprised when the zombie noticed its arms. It started wiggling towards him like a worm. I was expecting it was going to like try to reattach them or whatever. Instead it starts freaking trying to eat them. I wrote WTF. So that definitely threw me for a loop. And by the way, I was eating at the time. I shouldn't have been, because it just soured my stomach a little. In a good way, though. You want that visceral response. So maybe this story should come with a warning. Do not eat and read. Let's see. Third paragraph. Oh, I like how you're showing how Gaul, since Gaul can't speak, I like how you're showing how he is communicating, and how you put in italics, like, you know, it's obvious. His message was clear. It's your turn to clean this mess, kid. So that helps guide, you know, the reader. Oh, okay. Okay, so this is just another repeated thing. And I apologize if I'm kind of harping on this, because I know you didn't ask for an edit. But I just thought I'd bring these things to your attention, and then, you know, you can go from there. The last two sentences of the third paragraph. Once I figured out which corpse went where, and then the next sentence starts with, once they were placed back in the ground. So that's two sentences in a row starting with once. But then there's also the repeated phrase in each sentence. I had to drag them back to their grave. Sentence 1, and then sentence 2, I had to reshovel the earth back into the grave. Now, again, this is at your discretion. I know there's only so many ways you can say, I put someone in a grave. So at that point, at the end of the October 5th journal entry, I put a little question, any self-reflection. Like, at that point as the reader, I'm like, I'm going, what the fuck? Sorry. I'm saying, what the flip? And the main character probably is too. So, I don't know. More on that later. Okay, October 12th. Yeah, that was some dark humor. I liked that, being like, oh, we don't actually get winter off. And they can escape from their the steel doors in the crypts. October 18th. Oh, I loved the description of it was so windy that they couldn't see well, not only because the moon was hidden, but partly because the wind kept blowing leaves in our faces. I just thought that imagery was so cool. And at first I thought, damn, that's a lot of leaves. And then I'm like, October, hurricane force winds. Yeah, that makes sense. And the leaves would probably also hurt. This also surprised me. Like, I hear the familiar thud, a thud and a familiar groan. I thought that was yet another zombie popping up, and he turns around and I'm expecting him to go, oh, there's another one. But instead, he sees Gaul on the ground with one on top of him. And I circled that and went, because, like, I wasn't expecting that image. The paragraph after that, when he's shooting, I liked that. I liked that he wasn't just like a crack shot right away. It felt, a lot more realistic. And then it says about the zombie, he hit right behind his ear. He fell over dead onto Gaul. And I was like, but isn't he already dead? Maybe he fell over unanimated? He went rigid or floppy or something to convey that he's no longer animated. Because, like, are the zombies alive? I don't know. We're going to get deep here. Like, so can you say that a dead thing's dead? I don't know. It's all up to you in the world that you're building through this story. Okay, so then the third paragraph on the second page is he's describing, I went back to my house, took off my gun as soon as I got inside. Now I'm putting down this entry and feeling total and complete dread. If this were a novel, I'd say, like, oh, can you expand on that more? Can we see what that feels like? But again, like I was saying earlier, it's a tight line to walk because this is still someone's journal. And that is more like what you'd put in your journal. But then I marked that as a spot to put a little bit more self-reflection. I did not know that was coming later. So, okay, then there's another paragraph, and then... yeah, he throws up. He couldn't get the image out of the bullet entering the thing's head out of mind. That's good. Third paragraph from the bottom, there's 3 sentences that begin with the word after. So you might want to consider just restructuring those sentences so that they're not so repetitive. Okay, so I loved that final paragraph. Granted, it was an undead corpse, but still, this is the first time I've ever killed something. I'm still trying to get my breathing under control. Right now, all I want is a hot shower. After that, I think I'll grab a gallon of brandy and sleep forever, or till Hal wakes me up, whichever comes first. But still, shower is needed now. That's like the punch I've been looking for this whole chapter. That was that moment of self-reflection that I was yearning for, because like I said, me as the reader, I'm going like, and I want the narrator to also bring me into that. So the note that I had made, and this might sound counterintuitive because we're always saying show, don't tell. Show, don't tell can go too far. And I think show, don't tell, maybe I should do a vlog about this. It needs to be taken in context. So, like I'm saying, put more stuff in... well, you can't really put it in scene since it's a journal, but I think you know what I'm saying of show, don't tell usually applies to, for example, the first story that I read of yours, there was a whole paragraph that was a dialogue exchange between the warlock and his bride. And, but it wasn't actually structured as a conversation. It was, he said this, she said that, so that's kind of telling, not showing. And I remember pointing that out to you there. So I'm not talking about it in that way. However, when you're writing, it's important to remember all the different tools in your arsenal. So yes, you are limited to this one narrator's point of view because it's written in his hand. However, if it's self-reflection, I don't think that counts under the telling in show not tell. So like you did in the very bottom paragraph where he's like, what am I doing? Like, why did I do this? I don't know how much longer I can keep this up. That's good. And a part of me wants to say that I wanted it earlier, like just a sentence or two of self-reflection earlier. But again, that's all down to the character. So that's just my need as a reader. And I'm telling you that so that you have that information going forward. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to change anything, but just know that as a reader, I was waiting for that human connection between me and the narrator rather than just, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, all this crazy stuff's happening. But what does it mean to the human existence? So the note that I put at the bottom was, this was just one idea. Maybe you could work in that the journal is, maybe he could say, I'm starting this journal now, or this journal has become, his way of processing or coping with emotions and events outside of the normal human scope of existence. Because why he's keeping a journal, he was keeping a journal before these crazy things started happening, before anything supernatural happened. But now it's clear we know why we're reading this journal. We know why the author, basically, we know why Mr. Van Vleer wrote this. Because it's a story, because stuff's happening, because it's significant. But for the intents and purposes of the character creating the journal and maintaining it, I think that you have an opportunity to be like, this is helping. And then that could give you permission to maybe as it goes on, get more descriptive, get more in depth, get more sort of writerly. Like how I was saying earlier, you don't want it to seem too writerly because it is a journal. But at the same time, if he's using it as his outlet, then he can go a bit deeper and bring the reader in that much closer to his character. I hope that makes sense. So those are my notes. And again, I finished reading it and I was like, what? Where's the rest? So well done. And I hope you're getting a good response to this. I know you said you're posting it on Reddit somewhere and I have not looked for it. Okay, I barely even know like what Reddit is, much less how to use it. It's just a website I accidentally get to sometimes, and I know I'm missing out on a big chunk of the internet by being ignorant, but I don't know. I just haven't taken the time to educate myself, and that's on me. But no fear of me hunting it down and trying to spoil myself. So I hope that helped, and as always, please let me know if you have any questions, and all my best.